Habakkuk chapter 2 is about what happens when God shows up late. Now, God doesn't ever actually show up late. Time's not that big of a deal to him. He created it. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Luke 24, verse number 21. Some man is talking and he says this: "We trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. Besides all this, today is the third day since these things were done." So this is a man, he doesn't know this, but he's talking to the resurrected Jesus. And he asks the resurrected Jesus, again, not knowing it's him, he says, "Hey, don't you know what's going on here?" And Jesus says, "What things? What is happening here?" And he says, "Well, there's this guy named Jesus, and we really thought he was going to be our Savior and the one who would redeem Israel, but he's been dead for 3 days now. And besides, they've gone to the tomb, and I don't even know where his body is." And so this guy's thinking, hey, you know what? God let me down. God's plans didn't come through. But what he doesn't know is he just needs to wait a little bit longer, and he's going to see that actually God's plan worked out perfectly. That's what I mean when I say sometimes God arrives late. Now, if you go back to Habakkuk 2, you'll see this is how God talks to Habakkuk. Remember in chapter 1, Habakkuk says to God, "There's all this wicked stuff happening. What's going on, God? I don't understand." And God says, "Well, I'm going to do something. You're right, you won't understand. I'm going to raise up the Babylonians, and they're going to conquer and pillage." And Habakkuk says, "I need an answer. I'm going to stand and wait." That's how chapter 2 starts. I'm going to stand and wait. In chapter 3, God answers. And listen to what God tells Habakkuk about waiting for him. He says, "For the vision," or God's promise for the future, "is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come." It will surely come. It will not tarry. And so what God says is, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to work and do something, but in the future. I have an appointed time. I have an appointed hour. I have an appointed moment when I'm going to handle this. It's going to take some time, but when that time gets here, it's going to be time. He says, it will tarry to get here, but when it gets here, it ain't going to tarry no more. So he just says, wait. And in verse 4, he gives us a really good insight to how we should be waiting. He says this in Habakkuk 2:4, "Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him." So the guy who says, "No, come on, God, you have to answer now. God, you owe me an answer. God, you have to. You need to tell me." That guy is lifted up. He's not right with the Lord. But somebody who does like the rest of the verse says, "But the just shall live by his faith." So the just person says, you know what? I don't understand. I don't know all the answers. I can't maybe explain it, and it definitely doesn't make sense to me, but I'm still having faith in God and his plan. Now later on we see, if you read the back half of the chapter, God says, whoa, 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 talking to that nation. He says, there's problems coming, judgment's coming, but we don't know when or how or what. We just need to have faith and wait. It's so hard to wait sometimes. It's so hard to wait when we don't understand. Something I learned, I would have been 18 years old, recently going into Bible college, was that to be a leader, and really just to be a Christian in general, we have to learn to live in extended moments of uncertainty without an answer. That's what really faith is just living not knowing the future, but hoping and trusting in God anyway. And so God says, hey, just have some faith. I'm going to do something. Trust me, trust my plan, trust my word. I'm going to do something. Have faith. And I don't know your situation. I don't know what it is that you may be dealing with, but I know that giving up is not the answer. Quitting on God is not the answer. Getting mad at the Lord is not the answer. We need to wait on him, humbly wait, humbly hope, and trust and have faith in him and his plan and his word. Let's wait on the Lord with a humble, faithful attitude.